Hello and welcome to this week's weekly Curriculum Connections video. This is for the PGCE primary trainees from Bradford College, Stage 1 placement, week beginning Monday the 24th of November. The focus for this week is going to be assessment, continuing from last week. But this week we're focusing in on feedback with the big question of what are the characteristics of effective feedback. So for the trainees, the expectations this week are that they are beginning to build towards planning, resourcing and teaching and evaluating 2 whole lessons each day. And if they are in early years or Key Stage 1, that should include phonics. Obviously at this stage, if you think the trainee is beginning to progress towards that, they might be continuing to teach independently 1 lesson a day and be team teaching or co-teaching with you a 2nd lesson each day. We'd also like them to become familiar with the teaching of science in your school and observe or co-plan an element of the science curriculum for their class. And we also would like them to start thinking about what do other subjects look like, the opportunity to observe art and design, design technology and music during this week. If our trainees are in nursery or reception, we would again like them to build up towards 2 adult-led sessions, but certainly from their 1 set independent lesson, they should be building that into continuous provision as well now. But we'd also like them to begin to observe and look at how the understanding of the world is also implemented within that setting, whether there are adult-led sessions, whether it's through enhanced or continuous provision, and how they might in the future be involved with that element of planning and provision. For you as the school mentor this week, we would ask you again to undertake a lesson observation. That can be the class teacher if the school mentor is not the class teacher. There's been quite a few questions about uploading observations to Abiasa, so I'm going to talk about that in a moment. If you can continue to support the trainee to reflect on their teaching, to think critically about their own practice and their own targets against those core competencies. And also the following week of teaching, that week beginning the 1st of December, is an ITAP week, and there'll be a special video next week. But they'll be with you on the Wednesday and Thursday of that week and be expected to teach an English and a maths lesson. So if you could have a conversation with them during this week to enable them to know what they might be teaching content-wise for those lessons. Your lead mentor may visit this week. We're beginning to move towards that checkpoint 4 where they will definitely do a face-to-face visit, but that might be more the week after ITAP as well. But as usual, if you have any concerns at all, please do not hesitate to contact your lead mentor or contact me if you have any further questions. So I mentioned earlier that I've had several questions about observations and uploading those to Abiasa. If you've worked with us before or with LTU before, you will know that you used to be able to handwrite the observation, or you'd type up the lesson observation and your trainee would upload the lesson observation. There has been a change on Abiasa this year, and only the school mentor can upload the observation. Partly because the format and the pro forma is now on Abiasa, and partly because it's linked into that if you wish to upload. So on your screen at the moment, if you open your Abiasa and go to your trainees timeline, you will see on the top picture on the right, there is a start button. When you select that start button, it asks you about a template. If you select the drop-down menu, there is an observation there. If you click that, it then opens that performer that you can see on the left-hand side of this screen, and you can type directly into that, and it's saved as you type it in. When you've finished the whole of that observation, you need to press submit so that it gets posted to the trainees timeline in their completed section. However, if you would prefer to handwrite the observation, that's absolutely fine. What happens is that you again go to that start button, open the observation, and if you look on the second diagram on the bottom right corner of this page, when you open that, just above the targets on the performer, there is a line that says, if the lesson observation is a Word copy, please upload here and continue to the end to submit. When you open that, there is a button that you can upload your observation to there. You then scroll to the bottom of that page and you click submit. And that should enable you to have the observation posted on the trainee's timeline, which means that your trainee and the lead mentor can see those observations. The point that the trainee does have to do is that they must upload to their weekly development record the planning for the lesson that was observed by you. I hope that makes sense. If you do have any questions or you would like me to talk you through it live on your screen, please do get in contact. The school experience directed tasks for the trainees for the week beginning the 24th are all focused on providing feedback. We'd like them to observe and look at how do you, the expert colleague, their school mentor or their class teacher, give feedback in the moment. What are the characteristics of that? What does the school policy state about that? Does your school use live marking? Is it in the moment marking? Is it written feedback? Is there a set process for that? And if they're working in Key Stage 1 or 2, we would like them to make sure that they are part of that marking process alongside you. And they need to record their findings of that into their development record. If they're in early years, we want them to really look at how is feedback given in the moment, are observations used, how are they informing feedback, what are the characteristics of the feedback in that early years setting, because it is unlikely that there will be any written feedback to pupils, or that's not an expectation we would absolutely have. The second part is that we would like them to observe you or an expert colleague in action, feeding back to individuals, and getting them to note how the children made aware that they're being assessed, or is that sharing of learning objectives? Is it that sharing of success criteria? How do the children get that feedback? What sort of questioning strategies are used? We look at this in much more detail in stage 2 placement, but just getting them to begin to think about what practices are they seeing. And then how do teachers respond to correct or incorrect answers from the children? And then we want our trainees to continue to assess for the lessons they are teaching their focused children. So using the performer that they started last week, they can continue the same performer, or they can use a separate one for subjects, however they wish to organise that. But they need to identify for their focused children how the children have made progress against the learning objective for the lessons they are teaching. Now, if you have a trainee who might be teaching a particular set, say your school sets for maths in Key Stage 2, or teaching a phonics group that isn't their normal class, it's absolutely fine for them to pick 1 or 2 children extra for their focus children, just to track the progress in that lesson, to enable them to, again, beginning to think about what's the progress that the children are making. So lead mentors may undertake a visit this week, or it will be the week after ITAP to do checkpoint 4. Checkpoint 4 is a face-to-face visit and a joint observation of the trainee with you. We'd also like to see you feedback. We might jointly feedback with you in that after that observation, but to talk to you about the progress, talk to you about potentially moving towards the end of this placement. Are they making the expectations against the core competency ready to be moving towards a stage 2 placement? And also we meet with the trainee, checking their files, discussing their progress, their expectations, how they believe they're demonstrating evidence against those core competencies. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I just want to mention, I apologise if there's any difference you notice in the video this week. There's been a technical issue with eStream in the college, and therefore I'm having to use the Teams video, which means that there is a slight delay in how this gets sent to you so that we can have an open access. But my email is there, the link to all the documentation, and I look forward to sending you an email in the middle of next week about ITAP week 2, so it will be the second ITAP special. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you'll have a good week. Bye.